Hi everyone, it's Dr. Jen Kordonsky from Optimal Spine Chiropractic. And today I have a question for you. Do you have a strategy for healthy living? Do you have a game plan? Or are you like most people and you're doing the best you can, but you're really kind of winging it and hoping for the best? Well, tonight we're going to talk about developing a strategy and making it really efficient and really easy. And planning for your health strategy is like planning for your retirement. The earlier you start, the better your results are going to be. And I'm going to be able to show you, and I'm really excited about this, how you could save yourself or earn yourself actually over $100,000 by tweaking your strategy for living a healthy life. And it's really not all about the money. It's ultimately about you living your best life possible, because you can't put a price tag on your health. But we're kind of going to do that today. According to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, a very reputable source, the average American spends over $10,000 a year on their healthcare expenses. Now that is expected to increase to $15,000 a year by 2025. So that's a significant amount of money. Seniors spend more than 20% of their income on their healthcare expenses. And a survey by HSBC found that the #1 barrier that people report to being able to retire is their healthcare expense. And that was only second to the illness of a partner that prohibited people from retiring. So there's obviously a financial component here that we need to address. Harvard University found that 62% of bankruptcies were due to medical expenses. And shockingly, 78% of those individuals had health insurance. So investing in your health is like investing in your education. It's going to affect your future earnings. It's going to save you lots, and in the long run, it's again just like retirement saving. The earlier you start, the more consistently you save, then the bigger the return on your investment. So you've heard me mention how small changes over time, and if you watch any of our videos, you'll hear me talking about how it's the small things that really add up and make the biggest difference. And there's a great book on the subject that it's short and amazing. I would highly suggest you read. It's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And he does a beautiful job illustrating the point that small changes, strategic small changes, are the most efficient way to make a change. And they're the most dramatic when applied consistently over time. So again, great read, highly recommend, and beautifully illustrates the point. But today I'm going to help you pick those most efficient, most strategic small strategies by really helping you understand where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, time or money or energy, when it comes to having a strategy for your health. So there's something that helps us to focus this and understand what's most important. It's called the Pyramid of Vital Needs. Ta-da! Pyramid of Vital Needs. So there's 4 things here on this pyramid, and at the base of the pyramid you'll see listed food. Now everyone knows that if we don't eat, eventually we're going to die. So this is the things that you cannot live without, right? And I'm not talking about just coffee and peanut M&Ms that you feel like I can't live without. No, these are the things that you will literally die without. So they are truly your vital needs. So food, you can go a certain length of time without food, but it's going to be limited. Average, probably a few weeks without taking in any calories at all, and you'll ultimately starve to death. So above food, we have water. Now, if you understand that within a few days, you are not going to live if you haven't consumed any water, then you understand that water is a more vital need than food. Now, without either of them, you're not going to make it, so they're both critical. However, water is slightly more important than food because you can only last a few days without it. Now, even more critical than water is oxygen. you know that you can only go a few minutes if you don't have access to air, or if your bloodstream is not delivering oxygen to every cell in your body. So oxygen is absolutely a vital need, and it's more vital than water, and it's more vital than food, because we can only go minutes without it. Now at the top of this pyramid is something that people don't often think about. It's nerve supply. And nerve supply refers to the electrical signals that your brain generates and transmits down the spinal cord and through the nerves to every cell of your entire body, and then sends back up through the spinal cord to the brain. The constant flow of electrical information is critical to your health and your life. And you've heard me talk about that before, but you might be thinking, more critical than oxygen, more critical than water, more critical than food? And the answer is absolutely yes. And if you understand triage in an emergency room or in a critical situation, you understand that medical providers are going to be looking for and addressing first any spinal cord injuries, any brain injuries, because that is the number one highest priority of your body. If you were to sever or severely damage the spinal cord, you would be dead within seconds, instantly. So that shows you that this nerve supply is your body's most critical need, and yet it's often neglected, it's often not even discussed, except for in triage and emergency situations where we might be without nerve supply at all or in a critical state. Each of these vital needs, I'm confident if you're watching this video that you're meeting them, that you have addressed those needs because you are still with us, you are alive. But if these things are critical to life, doesn't it make sense that the quality with which you meet those needs will impact the expression of your health? And it's true, and it does so in descending order, because this has the highest impact versus the lowest impact. Loss of one of these needs will affect you in this order, and restoring or improving will have the reverse effect on improving and optimizing your health. So like I said, I know you're all meeting your needs currently because you're surviving, at least at this very second. But there's certainly a continuum. We can be just surviving and not dead, or we could be really optimizing the way we meet our needs in each of these categories. So I'm going to take you back and show you something, and I want you to kind of self-assess and ask yourself, how am I meeting those needs? Am I at the bottom of the scale here, red zone, death, where I am not meeting the need at all for nerve supply, a spinal cord injury, for oxygen, maybe massive blood loss, for water, dehydration, for food, starvation? Am I there? Or am I working my way up to where I am fully optimizing that category of my health, and I am not just surviving, not just thriving, but I'm truly prospering and optimizing my health across the board? So when we're talking about your nerve supply, are we addressing your chiropractic needs for life, regularly and consistently, and not just when there's pain or a problem? Are we addressing our posture? Are we decreasing how much time we spend sitting? Are we using exercise and stretching strategically to combat the effects of our physical stresses on our body, on our spine, and keeping our nerve system healthy? As far as oxygenation, we could be up here in prosperity if we are exercising, cardiovascular exercise, so that we can deliver that oxygen to all of our cells with efficiency. Strength exercise, so that we can return the blood to the heart with efficiency. Posture is important in full, adequate respiration and expansion of the lungs. Are we getting outdoors and getting good quality air? Are we using our diet to maintain the health of our blood vessels? And are we avoiding smoking? That's how we optimize that category. For hydration, super simple. Are we drinking enough water? Are we addressing the quality of the water that we're drinking? Are we looking to decrease the unhealthy beverages that we might consume? And then in the category of food or nutrition, are we getting a balanced diet? Are we decreasing the amount of junk food that we consume? Are we looking at improving consistently over time the quality of the foods that we consume? Are we looking at maintaining a healthy BMI and healthy body weight? Are we looking at adding supplements? So everywhere in all four of these categories, I want you to kind of quickly gauge yourself. Where do I feel I am on this spectrum? How well am I caring for my body? And prioritize. Think about, how can I build on my health, create a strategy from the top of the pyramid down to optimize my health and my well-being. Again, I want you to think of it like an investment. And this is where, what investments are going to give you the most return. And obviously starting with the highest priority and working your way through these things. And when it comes to your health, if it's not on this chart, it's not as important, right? Because it's not a vital need. So don't spend your time and your energy trying to build your health with something that's really not here. Until you have maximized your investments here, then we can move on to something else. So obviously we're going to start with the most impactful, and I want to share with you some numbers for those of you who like numbers, to help you understand how valuable caring for your nerve system is. And it's one thing to hear your chiropractor say, well, investing in your chiropractic care, regular consistent care, is very important for your health. It's another thing to, see someone, outside recommend this to you. But when we look at studies from third parties, not involved, reputable sources, third-party payers and hospitals, to me, that is just solid evidence that the money that we invest, the time that we invest in caring for our spine, this isn't just your chiropractor's opinion. So I want to share a few things with you. Studies on just low back pain. So when the first provider for an incidence of low back pain is a chiropractor, it has been found that costs for treatment of that low back condition are reduced by 40%. That's a significant savings. The British Medical Journal published an extensive study back in 1990. They followed 741 people with chronic low back pain. They followed them for 2 years. So it was a nice long study, a nice big group of people. And they found, of course, that there was a benefit to chiropractic care. And they found, quote, the benefit of chiropractic care became even more evident in the 2-year follow-up period. They found that these people were not just improved short-term, they were improved long-term, and they were improved in many other facets of their health. The article found that, quote, if all back pain patients without contraindications were referred for chiropractic treatment, there would be significant annual treatment cost reductions, a significant reduction in sick days during the 2 years, and a significant savings in Social Security payments. So they're putting a dollar amount on the improvements that these people got out of their health, and they found it to be significant over the long haul, that they were even sick less in the 2 years following their chiropractic care. Pretty powerful. Now, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee found that their chiropractic patients experienced or had to go through 43% fewer hospital visits. And if you've ever been to the hospital even once, you know that can be quite costly. So the people utilizing chiropractic care had 43% fewer hospital visits. They spent 58% fewer days in the hospital. That's huge. They had 43% fewer outpatient procedures and surgeries, and they spent 52% less on drugs. So besides the cost savings, they're healthier, they're putting fewer drugs in their bodies, they're spending less time in the hospital. That's massively significant. JMPT, a journal published in May 2007, and they tracked data from something called the Independent Physicians Association. And they took data from 2003 to 2005, so over 2 years, and this Independent Physicians Association have chiropractors as their primary care providers. So instead of going to your MD as your primary, you would go to your chiropractor as your primary. And in these patients, they had 60% fewer hospitalizations over the course of 2 years, 62% fewer surgeries over the course of 2 years. Massive cost savings, massive benefit to health. Another study that looked at adults over 65 years old, and they took the two groups, the study groups, and they matched them for age and health status and socioeconomic status and education. So they were really well matched groups of adults over the age of 65. And they took the group that utilized chiropractic care on a regular basis and found that they spent only 37% of what the non-chiropractic group spent on healthcare. That's a savings of 63%. They found that they had half as many medical visits in the chiropractic group as they had in the non-chiropractic group. So this isn't just me sharing this with you. This is outside evidence, very compelling, that caring for your spine and your nerve system is high priority and has a huge impact on your health. And that impact translates into dollars. So I want to do a fun little experiment here. And we're going to see how that translates into dollars. So currently in the US, the average life expectancy is 78 years. Now, I expect better from you. I don't expect you to be average, but say we have a life expectancy of 78 years. And if we begin our chiropractic care a little late, but at 12 years old, that's 66 years of chiropractic care. Now, if you have a lot of work to do in year one, which is unusual for a 12-year-old, but say they did. Say they had $3,000 spent on chiropractic care in year one. But then they were good to go and they entered a wellness maintenance program of weekly adjustments, which is absolutely ideal, and there's a significant cost savings to doing that. Years 2 through 66, that person would only spend $1,500 a year on chiropractic care, adding up to a total of $99,000 spent on chiropractic care, which is a significant amount of money. But if we know that the Center for Medicare says that the average individual spends at least $10,000 a year on medical care, and that that number is going up to $15,000 a year in a few years, then we can conservatively estimate that 66 years of life spending just $10,000 a year on medical care, that would be $660,000 that you would spend on healthcare. Now, think back to the information I just shared with you, that adults over 65 spend 63% less on their healthcare when they use chiropractic, that there are 50% less spending on drugs in patients using chiropractic care, that we have 40-some% fewer hospitalizations and 58% less days spent in the hospital. Chiropractic care saves us money. And if we just conservatively said that it saved us just 40%, when we know that it saves seniors at least 63%, but let's say it just saved us 40%. We have $660,000 that we're going to spend over 66 years on our medical expenses. If we save 40%, that means we're going to save $264,000. That's huge. Now, we have to calculate what we spent. So if we saved $264,000, but we spent $99,000, then we have earned ourselves $165,000. Would you like an extra $165,000 in your pocket to spend on your healthy body, on your healthy life, any way that you would like to? Heck yeah. But is it a good investment? Well, let's see. $165,000 divided by what we spent, $99,000. That's 166% return on your investment. I think that's pretty good. Now, what if you're saying, well, I'm not 12 years old anymore? Most of us aren't. What if you're already 50 years old and you just begin your chiropractic care? Well, average life expectancy is 78 years. Minus 50 means there's 28 years that we have to be concerned about. Now, 28 years times $10,000 a year on medical expenses equals $280,000 spent on medical care. Now, chiropractic care. What are we going to spend on that? Well, let's overestimate just to be careful. And if we have to spend $3,000 on year one and another $3,000 on year two, let's just say it takes a ton of work to get this 50-year-old ready for lifetime weekly wellness care. So that's definitely an overestimate, but let's say it's $6,000 in the first 2 years, and then the next years 3 through 28, we're ready for wellness care at just $1,500 a year times 26 years. That means we're going to spend a grand total of $45,000 on our chiropractic care. So if chiropractic is going to save us just 40%, remember that's a conservative estimate too, $280,000 times 40% means you're going to save $112,000 on your medical expenses by utilizing chiropractic care. Now, if you save $112,000 but you spent $45,000, that means you earned yourself $67,000. Sounds good, right? Well, definitely. Divide that by 45,000 and we find out that's 148% return on your investment. Are you worth that? Absolutely. If I had to spend that and didn't have the return, this is my health. This is my life. If you don't have your health, what do you have, as the expression goes? So I just want you to think back to the pyramid of vital needs. I want you to think back to the prioritization. If it's not on this chart, this is not where we spend our time, energy, and money until we have maxed out our investment in these categories. I want you to grade yourself and think about that a spectrum of where you are and where you could put those little tweaks into improving your health and your outcome. And this is what we're all about. Of course, caring for your nerve system and supporting you and giving you the education and the inspiration every week in these classes to pick away at these other categories strategically and getting the most bang for your buck on the energy that you put into building your health. And not only will that gradually get you to where you want to be, but it's going to revolutionize. And if you read that book, The Compound Effect, you see how it seems to not make much of a difference at first, but these small strategies, just like investing, will end up compounding and revolutionizing your results. The outcome will be completely different by just having taken the right small steps. So, thank you for your time. I'm so excited to see you at your next adjustment. Make sure you share this video with a friend.